Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Hello, Badass Manifester. I am back with a solo episode. I hope you've enjoyed all of these amazing experts and all of these different modalities that we're learning about on the podcast. It is so much fun to dive into them, and I know so many of you are like really getting deep into your numerology or your human design, and I'm really excited for you because all these tools, like I said before, had radically changed my life. So I'm excited to share them with you and these amazing, beautiful experts. So today I am home. I'm back from Greece. We went on our first international trip with baby boy. And let me tell you, traveling with a 19-month-old is not for the faint of heart. A little life catch up here. I just want to share openly. I want to be a travel family. I want to see the world. I miss traveling. We used to travel 2 international trips a year before we had kids, before COVID. And it's changed a lot, and I just miss it so much. And so I'm really excited to be back traveling. And we went on this trip because we had a wedding to go to in Greece, and we brought my mom with us, and it was so helpful to have her there to be able to support us so we could go out to dinner and, we could share responsibilities. But I will say the flight there, to all the moms listening that have flown with babies, or to everyone who hasn't flown with babies but has experienced a baby on a flight, woo, baby. He literally cried for half the flight going, half of the 9-hour flight. And we had a layover, so it was a lot. And I don't recommend having a layover when you have a child. I don't recommend a layover anyway, but it's even harder when you have a child. But I will say, once we got there and once we kind of started to get settled and acclimated and got over the jet lag, because you don't sleep the first few days that you're there because of the jet lag, right? Your sleep is all over the place, especially with baby. It was awesome. I mean, once we really were able to sink into the vacation, it was just so epic to see him in a new country, experiencing new things, and it really does make them so adaptable. And traveling is a lot, right? You're going to a new time zone, you have to get adjusted yourself, your body, and sleep is so important and all of those things. And then adding a kid on top, I was so nervous about it. I had a lot of anxiety about it going into a trip like that. And I'm just so proud of us for doing it. So if you've been holding back on traveling, I highly recommend just ripping the Band-Aid off, because just as adaptable as they are, so are we. We will adapt to any situation. If your kid cries for, 4 hours of a flight, you're going to get through it. We get through our hardest days, don't we? We always do. It feels like we can't and we won't, and it feels like it's lasting forever, and we're like, oh my God. An hour into the flight, I was like, are we there yet? But you get through it. You get through it and you get to the other side. And something I want to talk about today is this concept of stealing from yourself, robbing yourself of experiences, because I used to do that, where I would want to do something epic, or I would want to take a girls trip, or I would want to invest in a program, or I would want to go to a retreat, or I would want to do something out of my comfort zone. And whenever I was on the verge of doing something amazing, my ego would just talk me right out of it. And it's interesting because I am my human design, as you probably already heard. I'm a generator, and I'm a sacral generator, which means that the answer comes to me very, very quickly. Like, I get the immediate yes or the immediate no. And I try to honor that as best I can. And I you heard me in the episode before struggling with, should I go to Greece? Should I not go to Greece? I went back and forth on it. But the initial reaction that I had to going to Greece was a hell yes in my body. It was like, yes, we're going to Greece as a family. That feels so good. It feels so expansive. I'm so excited. And you could feel the expansion in your body when it's a yes. And so even when I have the full body yes to a girls trip or to a getaway with my husband or to going on a retreat or investing in a program or booking a vacation or going, buying myself a luxury item, I would feel a hell yes as my initial reaction. And then I would tell myself it would be easier to just stay home, or that I didn't, quote, need the thing I was initially desiring. Ever talk yourself out of something that you really want? Like, the first time I ever had the opportunity to buy a Chanel bag, I was in Paris, and it's cheaper in Europe because you save money on tax, and it's just better to buy your luxury items in Europe. So I had this amazing opportunity. It was a unique bag. I wanted a classic black Chanel bag. It wasn't like the classic one, but it was a different version of it. And it was like unique. And I really liked it. And I really was manifesting a Chanel bag. I had the Chanel bag on my vision board for like 3 years at that point. And we went into the store and we were so close to buying it, except they needed our passport to save on the VAT tax. So we didn't buy it in that moment, and my husband was like, okay, we'll come back tomorrow and we'll buy it. And I think it was like 300 euros. And I couldn't sleep that night because I just was talking myself out of it. You don't need that bag. You really, like, you don't even carry bags that much. You don't really even need that. Like, it's fine. You'll be fine without it. You really don't need that bag. It's not going to change your life. And we woke up the next day and I said to Todd, like, no, I'm not going to get the bag. I don't think he wanted to argue with me, right? Like, he was buying me the bag. So he was just like, okay, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure, I don't need it. And that was it. I didn't get the bag. And I robbed myself of having something that was about to manifest from my vision board. And I told myself I just didn't need it. Have you ever done that? The thing is like, the doubt overtook my energy and it put me into this analysis paralysis situation. And I think we can all relate to that because we all overthink things at times and we don't always honor the yes that we feel or the no that we feel. Let's talk about a trip, for instance. I would commit to going on a girls' trip that I knew was going to be expansive and amazing and life-changing. And I would suddenly get flight anxiety before I even booked the flight. I would have 100 tabs open and shut down my computer because I felt so caught up in the overwhelm of the logistics. I would go then as far as, after I got over that, to book everything for a girls trip and then the night before cancel my flight because I was afraid to leave my comfort zone. Like, I was afraid to leave. And then I would have to rebook my flight for the following day because I would snap out of it, and also because the FOMO that I would have felt missing the trip would have been way worse, which cost me even more money because I had to rebook my flight. And I know it's crazy, right? But I feel like this is something relatable that we all experience in different ways, similar ways, but we don't actually express or talk about. And I just fixed my microphone, so this should sound a lot clearer now. Sorry about that. So that very trip that I canceled and then rebooked, I remember being in Sedona, standing on Cathedral Rock at this ecstatic dance moment, overlooking the most gorgeous full moon with the sun setting over the Red Rocks, having just the most magical moment ever. With tears streaming down my face, I had this realization that I almost robbed myself of this sacred, once-in-a-lifetime moment. How could I do that to myself? How could I do that to myself? And in the very next moment, I made a vow. And I put my hand over my heart, and I vowed to myself to never again rob myself of having the experiences that I truly want to have. I'm not going to let fear take me out. I'm not going to let my ego take over. I'm going to align with my truth, and I'm going to move from that place, because I knew that experiences are what make me rich. The richness of being with other people in these energies and these like-minded experiences and moments, and talking about how we're expanding and all the ways we're expanding and all the experiences that we get to share together in that energy are actually life-changing. And my soul knew. My heart, my soul, my mind, it knew that this was true, that this is what actually makes you wealthy and rich, is giving yourself experiences, giving yourself what you know is correct for you, what you know is true for you. And it's funny because I still come up against this, right? Like, I still was questioning going to Greece, and it happened again. The last time I went to Sedona was in February. I went to my own embodiment retreat, and I signed up for the retreat. It was a full body yes. I was like, oh my gosh, these dates work. I can do this. I'm going. And I remember my friends messaging me about the Airbnb that we're sharing together. And I was so excited for that. I went with Aline Info, actually, who I interviewed recently. Like, she was just on the podcast that you probably listened to, and Catherine Zankina. And we just had the best time. Well, we were going to have the best time. We ended up having the best time. But the point is like, I was so slow at booking my flight. I literally didn't book my flight until like the week before I left, because my ego was just like overwhelmed with it. I'm like, no, I don't think you should go. Trying to talk me out of it. And I knew what was happening. And I was like, no, I am going. I know that I'm going. But the point I'm making is that I paid $1,200 for a round trip flight, and it wasn't even first class, because I waited so long, and I learned a lesson. And it's funny because we all had initiations into this event that we went to, and like Allie had a very similar experience with her flight. So it's all good, right? Like, it's all good, because it's all a lesson for me to know, like, I have to act on my yes. I have to honor it. I have to act on it. There's no delaying. And if I delay, it's actually going to cost me money. So that was like a really interesting lesson to learn. And just to circle back about the Chanel bag, I did end up getting my very first Chanel bag. And it's really cool how it manifested, because it was the exact Chanel bag that was on my vision board. It's called the boy bag, for my Chanel lovers out there. And the first one was not the boy bag. And I needed to go through that lesson of talking myself out of that bag, feeling like I didn't need it. I wasn't worthy of it. It wasn't the right time. I felt like a fraud carrying it, all of the things that came up for me if I had bought that bag in Paris. And that was in 2019. And in 2021, I was in Florida with my friends, the same friends that I travel with. I was traveling with a handful of spiritual besties quite a bit. And we would go on our own retreats, and they were just amazing. And I remember being with her, and we were in Miami, and we were shopping, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go get my Chanel bag. Like, I felt scared, but I was ready. And I knew it was going to be more than, what it would have been in Paris and whatever. And I was with Catherine, and she was like, Ashley, like, don't be scared. This Chanel bag is going to make you money. Like, this Chanel bag, you carrying it, the energy that you're going to feel so abundant. You're going to feel so joyful. Like, things don't make you joyful and happy, but they amplify what you already are. And I already am a joyful person. I was already a happy person. So having the things just amplifies your energy of who you already are and makes you feel more abundant. So we go to the Chanel store at, what's it called there? It's called, not Pearl Harbor. That's not it. Bal Harbor. At Pearl Harbor. We go to the Chanel store, and like, they didn't have like anything. It was like post-COVID, and production was slow, and they didn't have like anything that I was really interested in. And we We couldn't shop around together, and I wanted the full experience. I wanted to be there with my friends. I wanted to sip on their champagne. I wanted to have the full Chanel experience, and it didn't happen that way. So we leave there, and my other friend Stephanie is like, Ashley, I'm selling a boy bag right now, and she's a doctor. She's like, I'm selling it in this doctor's group online. Like, someone just bought it, and I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, but she didn't send me the money yet. Do you want to like show me the bag that you want, or like I can show you the bag? And I was like, yeah. She showed me the bag, and it was like literally the exact bag on my vision board, but better, because the one on my vision board had silver hardware, and I'm a gold girly. So I got my gold boy. So anyway, I said to her, oh my gosh, I want it. So she gave the other person like the last opportunity to send the money for the bag. They didn't send it. And she's like, you can totally buy the bag from me. And I bought the bag from her for $5,000. It was a huge investment at the time, but it felt so good. And like, it was less money than it would have been in the store. And I didn't even care that it was like secondhand. It actually felt like better to me that it was her bag, because I know how she cared for the bag, and I know who she is, and like the energy that it carries. And it was just, I knew it was real. I knew it was authentic, like all of that. And I bought my perfect Chanel bag from her, and I still am obsessed with it. And we like say that we kept it in the family, And so I finally did get that bag, and my energy totally shifted from like the 2019 version of me to the 2021 version of me. And in between that time, right, I had to close the gap and do the work and learn the lessons that I had to learn. And Catherine was totally right. The bag made me feel amazing, and it still does. And I love it. I love it. I admire it. I love it. I love wearing it. I'm all about it. I'm all about that bag. But the thing is I don't need the thing to make me feel. I already feel the way that I feel, and then the thing amplifies the way that I feel. So it's just like a little nugget for you when you are investing in like a luxury item, to realize that like you're not filling a void, and you don't need this thing to be good enough, because you already are good enough. You already are worthy. You already are it. And this just amplifies those parts of you, because you can feel the difference, right? Like when someone has nice things and they feel like they have to have those nice things to be worthy, or to be, seen, or to be whatever, right? I know people like that. And here's the thing. We don't need any of this shit, right? But what I know to be true is that our souls are here to experience life, okay? Our souls are here because our souls alone know everything. Our souls know everything, right? Because we are made in the image and likeness of God, of the Creator. So we are part of that energy, and God knows everything, right? But how can God experience everything? How can our soul, our expression of God, experience life? We have to see it. We have to feel it. We have to taste it. We have to smell it. We have to touch it. We have to understand. We get to understand life through our embodiment of it. Our souls know everything, but we're here on this planet right now, in this physical being, in this vessel, in this amazing, beautiful vessel, to experience and express and embody. And that feels like the truest truth that I've got right now to share with you. Because this year in numerology, as you heard in the numerology podcast, we're just tying it all together. I am in a year 3, which is all about expression, all about embodiment, all about accessing new parts of ourselves. And as someone who has done the work for so long, right? So much mindset work, so much energy work, so much healing work. I remember my friend Stephanie, who I was just telling you about. I bought her bag, but she's like an amazing healer, amazing intuitive, and just so incredible. And I remember her saying to me one time, I think it was in 2019, she was like, Ashley, you are so like wise, and you know so much, right? Like in your mind, like you know a lot, and you're not fully embodied yet. And I was like, I took it personally. I was like, what are you talking about? I am so embodied. What do you mean? But honestly, at the time, I didn't even know what embodiment meant. And basically, it is the state of being. It is a state of being the energy you want to attract. It's taking your manifestations out of your head and into your body and embodying that energy now, before it happens. Embodying the energy of your higher self. You've heard that, right? You've heard that so many times. But we're still, as a collective, still very much in our heads. And embodiment takes all the mindset work and it pulls it down from the mind into your physical body so that you radiate that energy from every single cell of your being. That's what amplifies your magnetism. That's what amplifies your magic. That's what amplifies your influence in the world. And learning all of these lessons over time and leading QCA and seeing so many students doing such amazing work in the world and helping people master their energy, helping people master their mindsets, and getting more into their bodies. I wanted to create something that I've never created before. And that's exactly why I got the download to lead an intimate live event in Sedona called the Quantum Expansion Experience. And I really want to invite you to join us. It is a live event that is going to take place in, of course, Sedona, Arizona, because it is the most magical land. And together, we're going to go deep into helping you unleash your expression, get right with your triggers, and take all of the personal development work that you've ever done and move it through your body. We're going to help you gain a more expansive access to your most expressed self, right? Because so many of us are so confined in the way that we show up in the world. We don't want to be too much. We don't want to be too extra. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to be rejected. And so we keep ourselves small. We don't want to be judged, so we dim our light. And we've got to stop that. We've got to stop that. And that's the work we're going to be doing in Sedona. You're going to gain a deeper access of confidence. Like, that's going to be a byproduct. You're going to feel a deep sense of connection to yourself, to your body, to your mission, to the planet, but also to the other participants that are going to be there with you, these other souls who are going to be doing this work alongside of you. You're going to collaborate. You're going to network. You're going to create something together. You're going to unleash your truth and step outside of your comfort zone in a way that feels edgy, but filled with expansion. I'm telling you, some of the most expansive work I've ever done, some of the most life-changing work I've ever done is embodiment work. It is the next level, right? And we need the mindset work and we need the embodiment work. We need the somatic work. So if you're ready to get to know yourself even deeper than before and give yourself the gift of stretching your edges and accessing what is possible for you through this work, if you feel called to this work, that's because it's calling you. So I want you to grab your spot because spaces are super limited. So if this is really for you, act on your yes if you feel the yes. And if you feel like I have some questions and you don't get that immediate yes, reach out. Message me. I will answer your question. And here's the thing. Something that I heard from someone else that is really considering joining is like, oh, I promised myself that I wasn't going to invest in more than one thing this year. And, you know, I really want to go. Like, I feel it. I really want to go. So I'm waiting for my sign, but I told myself I wasn't going to invest in more than one thing this year. And to that, I want to say I totally get that. I totally respect that. I see you. And also, your expansion is not black and white. It's not like I'm going to invest in one thing this year and nothing else. I've told myself that before, and I've ended up doing many things. Like, I told myself that I invested in a mastermind last year called CEO Mama, and there was 3 live events. There was 3 live events that changed everything for me. Being in person had changed everything for me. That's why I ended up having $1 million launch after the very first live event, because it was just so expansive. I unlocked and unleashed so much within me. Anyway, that's a different podcast. But my point being is that there was 3 live events. I'm a new mom, right?
And I can't, I told myself I can't travel that much without my kid. And there was another event that popped up in Sedona that I really felt like a full body yes to. It was the embodiment retreat. And I was like, I really want to go to this. But I was like, I don't know if I could swing it. I'm going away this time and that time and this time and that time. And like, I had all these excuses of why I couldn't go, even though my whole body was screaming yes. And I just talked it out. I talked it out with my husband. I talked it out with my mom, who would also be caring for my kid. And like, they supported me. They supported me in my yes. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like, I could go. And I still drug my feet and like had to book that $1,200 flight. So my point is like, we can't say that our expansion is black and white. Like, it's not. It's so not. And to limit ourselves in that way is really, really hard. I think it's harder than giving yourself what you want, because when your body's saying yes to something in your heart and your mind, and you're like, I really do want to do this, and then you deny yourself from the thing that you really want to do, you are betraying yourself. You are cutting yourself off from expansion and possibility and making money, and you are cutting yourself off from the thing that you need the most. And that's what this whole episode is about. It's about not stealing from yourself. It's about not cutting yourself off from the thing that you feel a yes to. It's about leaning into the yes, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like a bigger investment. I'm not saying like go broke. Like that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that investing in yourself is always going to feel edgy, and leaning into your expansion is always going to feel edgy. And when you lean in towards the edge, that's when the net appears. But when you backtrack and you hold yourself back and you wait, quote, wait, that's when the energy of the universe says, wait. You're waiting, I'm going to wait. Because everything is mirroring us all of the time. And you're the leader. You're the leader of the pack, of your life. You're the leader, you're of the universe, where however you respond, the universe is going to be responding. And it's these subtleties in your energy, and it's these subtleties in what you allow yourself to have and the experiences that you allow yourself to have. Those are your teachers. Those are the juicy, like, ring it out moments of your growth and your expansion. So tune into yourself and ask yourself right now, what am I robbing myself from? What do I really want right now that I'm not giving myself? And how can I make it happen? That is the question that I started asking myself whenever I had an idea, whenever I wanted to make an investment. How can I make this work? How can I make this happen? And you start to move and groove with that yes energy, and it starts to align for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. Please thank yourself for giving yourself this time to tune into this episode and give yourself this download and hear this message. And I am calling in, there's 10 more spots. There's 10 more spots open for the Quantum Expansion Experience in Sedona. And as far as the logistics, basically, once you enroll, you will be added to a WhatsApp group. And in that WhatsApp group, you will be able to coordinate with other participants on Airbnbs to share, cars to rent, all the things. So if you have any questions about the experience, just DM me on Instagram at thequantum.coach, and I can't wait to support you. And I hope that I get to hug you in person. And I can't wait to hug all the beautiful souls that feel called to this expansive, amazing experience. Sending you all so much love. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at ManifestWithAsh. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get them.